listening to The Daily Show.
The Daily Show?
The Daily Show.
The Daily Show.
On Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
Men's Radio.
With Russ Kane.
I extra love that because Phil Dave hates it. So it's the only... I had it made in the States, and I was quite pleased with it. Hi everybody, I'm Russ Kane. This is The Daily Show, exclusive to Men's Radio Station. Hey, I put on Facebook, we've got an interesting show today, and I'm going to be joined by Emily Dexter, who I've never worked with before, but I'm looking forward to that because she has some very interesting stuff to talk about, and especially the only time that I was in a marquee, myself and 17,000 women. And I still went home alone. Anyway, more about that later. Barry J. Allen, hi Flash. Barry J. Allen, immediately back home, bloody cold. Well, yeah, because it's British summer. What do you want? And Francine Warner, not familiar with Francine Warner, who's going to a wedding in a week's time, and the outfit's already hanging up. Is that a women's thing? Is that a women's thing that you got an event to go to in a week's time, but you put the outfit ready? I'm like, blokes are going, what time's the wedding? 3 o'clock, 2:30. Wonder what I'm going to wear. That's what guys do. What's going on? Here we go. Let's go to New York. So good. They named it once. To make you Brits happy. Nothing's going to make us Brits happy. It's pouring so hard you can't see the buildings. Wow, that's in Manhattan. And when it rains, it rains. Not as bad as when it snows. When I used to live there and it started to snow, I'd go straight off and get a hotel room because I wouldn't get home. Absolutely wouldn't get home. Let's go up to Wolverhampton. Horus, happy Monday. Really looking forward to hearing Spinham Dicks today. Well, you really got to get out a bit more with Fat Scotty because I've met her, but we didn't speak. I don't know. It was over at Neil's house. Didn't know who she was, to be honest, but I'm looking forward to it. Now, a couple of things. Yeah. So, number one, ladies, because 50% of our audience are female. If you got a wedding or a big do or a function, do you put everything out first, like a week in advance? Not that it's, I'm just having a go at Francine, because she's entitled to do so. It's just that her husband and I are like, what? Why we do that? Or do you think it's an all thing? Cheers, everybody. Espresso. Now, the other thing is, and I'd love your input on this. I really would love your input on this. I got so cheesed off. Oh, Christ, look at this. This is Elizabeth Green from Manhattan. Yeah, we do a month in advance. No, I'm not talking about if you're taking a ride in a space shuttle. Obviously, you're going to get fitted up in a spacesuit, Elizabeth. I'm talking about just going to an event. What, you get ready a month in advance? Holy God, what the hell's up with you? Robert Van Buren, who is a horologist of the stars. Hi, Russ. Well, hello to you, Robert Van Buren. Hello. Right. Now, this weather, like everybody else on the planet, has been driving me batty. It really has been getting on. I'll be honest with you, it's been making me pretty blue. So I thought, oh, God, she's back again. She's back. She's back in New York. Yes, for my son. All right, let me just see if I've got this straight. Elizabeth Green in Manhattan, USA, for her son's wedding, put her outfit out ready a month in advance. Any advance on 1 month. Any advance. I'm looking for advance on 1 month. Yes, you, sir. It's against you, sir. Against you, madam, at the back. Against you, madam, in the back. And you, yes, you. A month in advance. What the hell? Robert Van Buren. Russ, to go on holiday to sunny Spain or LA? No, I'm not going to go back to LA for a while because my two best friends are now dead. That's the wonderful Shirley Green, who I used to stay with for weeks on end. So much missed. And my best pal, Francis McGuy. They're both passed. I really don't think I'm going to go to LA. I don't know who I'd hang out with. I mean, a lot of people. I've got pals out there. But, and I'm not crazy about Spain. Italy, I could go to. All right, here we go. Graham Pack. Great. This was the worst load of cack I've ever sat through in a theatre in my. I hated every single second. In fact, when it got to the interval, I stood up and I said, "Oh, thank God that's over." And I was informed immediately, "No, that's just the interval. There's another half to go." It was called A Little Life, and it was unremittingly shite. I saw A Little Life on Saturday and couldn't believe that you didn't enjoy it. I know, it's a miracle, isn't it, Graham Pack? The play was a happy subject, fast pace, and just flew by. Yeah, it was about abuse. And it had been any slower, it actually would have been stationary. Oh, it's all coming in from America. I love it when we get our messages from the United States. Azadam Brown, who's very senior in the psychotherapeutic community. Can't believe I said that word. Good day from rainy New York. And now let's go and say hello to Luke Newman. Good afternoon, Russ. Great news. Great news. I can confirm that we are now opening our 7th town to host Fermented Talk group meeting. Excellent. Luke did this all by himself. I'm so proud. That sounds horribly patronizing. I don't mean it to be that way. I mean, there's some things you say and it just comes out wrong, but like, get out of here. I don't know who you are. Luke Newman started Fermented Talk and it's going like gangbusters. Good man. Good man. We should be speaking about this anyway. Back to the show, A Little Life. It was all about abuse. It starred that very handsome fellow who was in Grantchester, whose name I can't remember, who seemed to get his kit off every 17 seconds of this pile of cack. And of course it got a standing ovation because it was marvelous. It wasn't marvelous. It was awful. Absolutely bloody awful. Anyway, there we are, Graham Pack. Now, where was I? Yeah. So, the weather gang has been bringing me down, making me pretty depressed. And, not like, but just feeling a bit blue. So I went on Amazon and I bought myself a SAD lamp, SAD, a seasonal, what the bloody hell does it stand for? Seasonal affectation or affliction or sonic adjustment disorder. Is that what it stands for? Or maybe it's just sad because I bought it on Amazon. It was about 30 quid, just under 30 quid. And it's nice, it's very neat. And I've got it on now. And the first thing it did, I tried it yesterday, right? I thought I'll give it a go. Unpacked it, quite exciting. Unpacked my SAD lamp, right? Switching on gave me a cracking headache. Holy God. Now, before you all say, you're not meant to stare into it. I know. I had it to one side. I had it at the right, distance away from my face. It's seasonal affective disorder. Yeah. This is true. And I put it on Facebook because I wanted to know if other people had bought this gadget. And I got very interesting replies. The most interesting one was from Patty Parfitt, who is the widow of Rick Parfitt, Status Quo. And the boys in Quo, when you're on tour, you're sitting either in a bus. I don't mean the 132 from Fulham or whatever it is. I mean, you're on a tour bus or you're in a dressing room. And they're always dark. There's no windows. You can get really cheesed off. So Patty Parfitt brought in a SAD lamp and it really worked for them. They felt much, much better. No, it wasn't drugs. It was the SAD. That'll be my next stop. SAD lamp doesn't work, right? Drugs or something. Anyway, so I'm giving it a go. Now, Kimmy has said this. Hi, Kimmy. She of Pop Master. Kimmy, Pop Master. I'm available for weddings and voiceovers. Kimmy, you're there all the time. I am. I haven't been away for well over 5 years. Wasn't what I planned. Just been pants. No offense, but you need a sunshine break. I do. And my son phoned me yesterday because he lives in Texas where it's 102, but it's dry heat. So it's nice. I mean, it's hot, right? But everything's air conditioned. Absolutely everything's air conditioned. And he said, and I was planning to go over. No, I'm not. Why are you coming over? I won't be here. I'm working around the clock. Kids are at school. Everyone's away. So I thought, okay, well, maybe Easter. It'll be good. What have we got here? Graham Pack. Why don't we go and see Little Life together, Graham? I thought you had a glow about you today, and I thought it was the ready break you had. No, No, I'm very, very careful with my breakfast. Usually an espresso and a banana. That's kind of it. Weight loss is going all right. Why am I losing weight? Why am I losing weight? Then I want to come on to all the other stuff. Why am I losing weight? I'll tell you. Because November 5th, somewhere in London, I will be doing my one-man show. It's the only time I'm doing it this year. The only time in the UK that I'm actually appearing in my one-man show, which I have revised and I'm rewriting even as we speak. So it will be on November the 5th. It will be in London. It will be somewhere very nice. Can't say where yet. Tickets are not on sale yet. Haven't even started doing pre-promotions. But yeah, November 5th, which is a Sunday. So we'll see. Be an early Sunday evening, so you can get home and watch Strictly, because I think that's probably back. What have we got here? All right, first this is this. You're always welcome in Wolverhampton on Cyrus. We don't have a beach, but but rummaging. All right, let's try it again. You're always welcome in Wolverhampton. Honestly, you've been to Wolverhampton. Jesus. We don't have a beach, but rummaging through the council tip brings more than seashells, and we have seagulls too. Oh, isn't that marvelous? Oh my God, council tip. This is a great guy. This guy is Martin Schilling. Who is he? You know sherry, right? And you know the brand Gonzalez Baez. I'm sure if you go into your cocktail cabinet, you got your sherries there. They're usually the ones that you buy are from Gonzalez Baez. And Martin is the brand ambassador for Gonzalez Baez. He is the world's nicest guy. And we've had a few sherry tastings up at the Soho Whiskey Club. And you'd normally think, oh, God, it's like my Auntie Doris coming down on Christmas, and you get the Harvey's Bristol cream. It might as well just get sugar in a glass. It tastes like, it's not great. And Martin just completely has reinvented what sherry is all about. Fantastic. And you'd have like 5 different sherries, each one more delicious than the next. And they taste great. And it's a modern twist on how it all works. For God's sake, listen to this. I feel shy now. What I love about the don't be silly, Martin. What I love about that is when you have a tasting and you get somebody like Martin who knows his subject inside out, and it's something you don't know, and you learn so much, and you learn the history and the stories and the fable that surrounds it, and then you taste it. It's just terrific. Graham Pack, you're a very strange man. You'll need to check that Mr. Fawkes doesn't put a load of... Well, that's just nasty. Graham, I don't like that. I mean, the show's not great, but you don't need to blow me up about it. So my holiday this year seems to be Wolverhampton-on-Sea in Fat Scotty's council tip. I'm really looking forward to that. Oh, bless you, as I do about cigars. Yep. Do you know how Gonzalez Baez was started, the sherry? I'm coming to you in a minute, Em. Spin on deck. I don't understand any of it. It's not for me. If it's not Motley Crue or AC/DC, I'm not really there. I'm not Metallica. I'm not really in it. Anyway, you always think these brands are started by somebody in their 60s and they're very wise. This kid was like early 20s. He's working in the docks. See, Martin, I listen to everything you say. He's working in the docks and he sees the things being imported and unloaded and everything. And because there's lots of dock workers, there's loads of little cafes and they're drinking. And the guy starts to think, I could do this. I could start like an importing sherry business. I could do this. So he got his uncle to fund it because he was like 22 or something. He's working in the docks. He's like a 22-year-old kid. So he gets his uncle. Tio Pepe means Uncle Pepe. It was his tribute. They called the first one because of his uncle, Tio Pepe, Uncle Pepe. Might go to me, Uncle Pepe. Right. You know her. Apparently you love her. You can do the talking next time. Martin, no, and we also did he's an amazing man, and he's helping so much in the Ukraine as well. And he'd be too shy to mention it, but what the hell? Just Putin, just stop killing people. Let everybody just get on with their lives. That would be nice. Now, she's been somewhere special today. In case you're wondering where Neil Longy Long is, I don't call him Long. He insists, by the way. I hate nicknames, can't bear them. He's away for a week. He's up in Edinburgh, working in the Square Sausage Factory. Please welcome Emily Dexter. Hi, Em.
Ooh. Hey, how are you?
Well, I'm okay. I'm all right. Thank you. How are you, Spinham Dex?
I'm good, thank you. Yes, I'm good.
Are
Yes, in my alter ego.
Are you wearing a fur coat? I know it's crap weather, but
it's a fairyland hood thing because I've just been in a hospital, and that usually is quite a hot environment. But the part I was in, where the scanners are, was very cold, so I put some layers on. So I'm ready for all weathers, you know.
Yeah, now, Spinham, what were you doing in the hospital, if you don't mind me asking?
So this was nothing to do with Spinham Dex, I should say. So Spinham Dex is my DJ name, and I love my DJing. But this was a very much an Emily Dexter moment because I found a lump in my left breast just under 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And
you're young. I mean, as everyone can see, but if you're only listening to this, Emily is very young, right? So this is not good news.
Yeah, well, I'm lucky that I'm not the age where I'd be having a regular mammogram, for instance. Right. I've never had one, and actually I still haven't had one. Didn't need one today, which is quite good. But yes, it was a bit of a pit of the stomach, oh my god moment, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet. And Emily, how long ago did you discover this lump?
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago tomorrow.
Wow, just under 2 weeks ago. Jeez.
So, being the journalist that I am, and having interviewed so many incredible men and women who've gone through all manner of things with their breast cancer and cysts and all kinds of things, I thought, right, well, I'm going to put my face out there and do this with my own way, and I'll tell you all about it. And it's not scary.
Why did you decide? First of all, we bless you for sharing. It's beyond important. Bless you for sharing. Because it's a very private thing. I don't know you personally. I mean, we're not like we're chums or anything. So I wouldn't phone you up and say, "Hey, Em, I've got a great idea. Come on the show and talk about a lump you found in your left breast," because I would never do that. You approached me, and I thought that is an incredible thing to do because it's so damn important.
Exactly.
So walk us through, if you would. And this isn't Radio 4. You can tell me to get lost anytime you wish. It's not an interrogation, it's a conversation. So you found this lump, you go, oh, God almighty, I'm 22 or whatever you are. This is not good. What happens then? You go to the GP? What's the story?
I'm here. You got me?
No, okay, go ahead.
Frozen moment. I'm armed with my pen, taking my notes, of course. So it was a regular Tuesday evening. I'd had a shower. I was going to bed. I happened to put my arm above my head, which is not something I particularly regularly do. I'm not somebody who regularly checks my breasts. Anybody that knows me knows I have the smallest breasts known to man. There's not blood there. Okay. So therefore,
look at that professional face. I said nothing. And I bet any members of my family or close friends are watching, they're going, the control you're showing, Russell, is unbelievable. Go on. All right. So, okay, you don't normally do that, but you did.
Yeah, no, I don't. I have very tiny boobs. So you kind of go, well, you'd expect me to notice a lump. No, something strange going on here. So I did, and it was really hard. It was a really hard.
The lump itself felt like solid, you're saying?
Yeah, and it was not as hard as a peanut, I wouldn't say, but it had a little bit. It was quite firm. I thought this doesn't feel like the sort of lump you'd expect.
And what kind of size are we talking about? Not your breasts, by the way.
It's been measured today.
A lump
at 1.1 centimeters. So we're talking very tiny, but therefore hard and tiny. And thought, this is very, very peculiar. And then obviously, as your mind starts to race, and you go, oh God, there's a lump. Okay, what does that mean? What is the process? Now, I spent a lot of time over the pandemic talking to the absolutely wonderful, magnificent Nina Baru, who founded the Moonwalk. And we really spent a lot of time on air when I was working for Radio Jackie,
Mhm.
talking about the importance of checking your breasts. If you're male, female, gender neutral,
Correct.
everybody on this planet, check your breasts, because
No, male
China-
or female. Stop there. If you're male or
Absolutely.
female, the rest of
Male,
it
female.
follows. Right.
Yeah.
And so you spoke to this person who formed the moonwalk, which
did. Yeah.
you wouldn't know, Emily Dexter, but one
Mm.
year I was invited. Would I start it?
Oh,
So-
excitement.
Yeah. So there was me and 17,000 women, 17,000 women in the biggest marquee in Europe in Hyde Park.
Wow.
Not that I felt, threatened or pressured in any way whatsoever. Me and 17,000 women all wearing bras.
Yeah.
It was a
Protecting
fantastic
bejeweled,
event.
incredible bras. I mean, they are something to behold. Those women know how to decorate a bra.
Well, yeah, it's just what I was thinking, Em. Anyway, so it was a fantastic, wonderful event, magnificent event, and yeah, I'm a big fan of that. Big fan of that. So
Yeah.
so within 2 weeks you're in the hospital, right?
Yeah, so what the process was, going back to my conversation with Zena, I thought she said to me, look, just if anybody ever finds something, just go and get it checked, ring your GP, and the sooner you can get it checked, one, peace of mind for you, we hope, but you've got an action plan. And these things, when they're caught, if they're really tiny, if they are unfortunately breast cancer, quite often, things can be done very, very quickly, which mean the treatment is much less invasive and much quicker. So got straight to it. The next morning, rang to my GP. Said, look, I'm working, I'm freelancing, I'm working from home, I can cancel my plans. Can you fit me in? Is there any chance today? And they were magnificent and said, yes, we can get you at 4:00 today. Perfect. Brilliant. I'm there with a wonderful female doctor. Frankly, I wouldn't have minded male or female, but they were very accommodating with a female doctor who checked my breasts and said, well, I don't think there's anything particularly to be concerned about, which is excellent. But we have the 2-week rule to refer you to the hospital, and they will be in touch. Within a week, they were in touch, and I was booked in for this morning.
Wow.
So we're not even 2 weeks away. I know, super efficient. Kingston Hospital are magnificent, but I'm sure other hospitals across the country must have the same rule. But they have been absolutely exceptional all the way through. I can't sing their praises enough. That hospital is just incredible. So off we went this morning to the Sir William Rouse unit, which is their specialist unit there, where I was dealt with. I was told to get probably about a 5-hour process, because what they do is a one-stop breast check. Now, in my head, I was thinking, right, see the GP, get a referral to hospital, probably a few weeks away till we see somebody, then they might do some checks, then we're probably another few weeks away from that. So we're probably looking at a month, 2 months before I've got any concrete answers. No, much quicker than that. So I will know by next Tuesday what's going on. Absolutely. The scans have been done this morning already. I've had biopsies taken, and it was a very, very quick process. So I arrived in, I went to go and see a lovely lady called Sarah Clay, who's part of the specialist team. She put my mind at rest straight away and said, look, I've got your notes here, and what we'd like to do, I'd like to just do a quick breast examination. Had a little feel. So look, I don't think there's anything too concerning there, which is excellent news. Kept me very calm. But I would like you to go and have an ultrasound. So a fantastic radiographer, whose name is here. I shall give everybody a shout out. Dr. Patricia Marin Crespo, a wonderful Spanish lady, and her fantastic radiology team of Taylor and Fifi, who proceeded to do a quick scan, find that lump very, very quickly, measure it for me, say, look, there's nothing too concerning here where it is in the breast tissue. We don't have to be too worried at this point. It is 1.1 centimetres, 0.4 centimetres the other way, so very, very tiny. But we would like to take some samples that will go to the lab today. As luck would have it, there is a meeting of consultants on a Tuesday afternoon, so that might happen tomorrow if they get the tests back in time from the lab, and if not, it will be next week. And it's something at the moment, they have a scale of concern for breasts between 1 and 5. 1 is completely normal, 5 is, might be thinking breast cancer here. I'm in at the moment, because we don't know where we are 2 to 3, which means benign. So nothing too concerning, could just be some normal tissue in my breast. Apparently that breasts are very, very affected, male and female breasts, by hormones. So it depends, particularly with women, where they are in their cycle. You can get peaks and troughs, and lumps can sort of become more tender or get a little bit bigger or smaller. It's completely normal to have lumps in your breasts. I didn't know this. So that's where we are.
First and foremost, I'm sure everybody watching from all over the world, because we're in France, certainly Spain, America, across America, is everyone's keeping their fingers crossed. That's
Thanks.
the most important thing. And we are all hoping that it's merely benign and that it's just a little bit of hardened tissue. The end. Bravo for checking it out,
Thank
which
you.
again sounds patronizing, but a lot of people, but especially men would go, it'll go away, it'll be fine. I know, I'm there. I'm in the front of that queue, then. I'm in the front of that
Yeah.
queue. It'll be fine. Well, yeah. Don't. These things, as Emily has pointed out brilliantly, are so time sensitive. The quicker you're on it, the quicker you're dealt with, the much more chance it has of being dealt with like that, and you're okay. If you leave it, you're opening the door to all sorts of problems. The other thing to say, and you are living proof of this, Emily Dexter, the NHS gets slammed every day for being rubbish, for being this, for being that. There you are. But when the pooey substance hits the fan and it's actually important, the NHS acts remarkably quickly and remarkably well. And they're so efficient, and their level of skill is fabulous. And that is true. That is true. And we too often forget that because it's the coughs and
They are a
colds and all
world-class.
the crappy little things that, we moan about the NHS. But God forbid it's cancer, God forbid it's heart stuff or whatever, something serious. Boom, they're there. And they will see you.
They absolutely
Now,
will.
you mentioned to me, and it's common knowledge that my wife passed from breast cancer, so it's a subject very close to me. But I didn't realize until we did years and years ago the Breast Cancer Care fashion show, which she was, to be honest, the star, being a former model. And it was very brave because all the other women were not models; they were just people who had had breast cancer, doing a full fashion show at either the Dorchester or I think Dorchester or the Grosvenor. It was huge, like 1,000 people there. Men get breast cancer.
They do.
Men get breast
Partly
cancer.
why I asked to come on your show, because having talked to Nina about it, we know men, much that we love all of you, are not the best at talking about your mental health and your health, and it all gets a little bit awkward at times. And women have the same issues, but I think just because of the nature of our bodies and what they do, even monthly, we kind of keep an eye on things. And guys, you say, retreat a little bit. And I felt very ignorant when I found that actually men can get breast cancer. Nina and I had this conversation one afternoon, and I said, oh my goodness, I had absolutely no idea. What can I do to get the word out there so that we can get it as a normal topical conversation, Oh, you've frozen for a minute.
And you thought men's radio station is the way to go. I'm sorry,
Oh, can you hear me? I can hear you. I heard men's radio.
Where I was so surprised, Emily, was on the fashion show, and I'm going back quite a few years, 25 years or so, 23 years, men started walking down the catwalk, a couple of guys. And I thought, well, what the hell's this about?
Bit of a shame.
In the comparing, explained who they were and the fact that men had had breast cancer. I was absolutely stunned. I'm confessing my ignorance. I did not know it was until that moment, sitting there in my tuxedo, watching guys with all the other women. I didn't realize that men could get breast cancer, but yes, you can.
Absolutely.
So,
and the thing is that you can catch it really early again, and
it's slightly lagging.
your diagnosis.
Things are slightly lagging. I apologize. Absolutely nothing we can do about it. Francine Warner says, absolutely, the NHS are amazing. I had a lumpectomy and now have a chip to keep check. All
Fantastic.
good. You have a chip.
I'm intrigued about
I don't
that.
understand that. I don't. Fran, what do you mean you got a chip? Please don't
Is there
tell
an
me
app?
it's from McCain's
Does
oven.
it tell you your data? What does it do? Hormone levels?
How does this work? Have you got a chip implanted in which case Michael will have it on his phone. Her husband is Mr. Gadget Freak. If it's a gadget, he has to
Amazing.
have it. If it's not on it, if he can't control it from his phone, he doesn't want it in the house. I haven't seen anything with a chip. I never heard about that. So they're going to come back to you. Let's get back to you because it's all about you today. They get back to you hopefully within a week.
Yeah, well, I say it's not all of the thing is it's not all about me. I want people to know that you can be anybody.
Well, it kind of is. I want it. I think it should because you've been so brave. So I think it should be.
Oh.
Enjoy
Yeah,
it.
no, the
Enjoy
thing
the
is,
bask in the limelight for a moment.
I don't feel that brave at the moment. I feel it's my duty to do it. You know, I've got this incredible team in Kingston Hospital who moved everything left, right, centre. Speedy Gonzalez for me today, kept me super duper calm, and have been incredibly efficient and absolutely joy to be around, and I wasn't at all scared at any point, even
Wow.
when they were taking. I had to have a general. No, I wouldn't be talking to you about the general.
Well, you're doing well for a GA. You're doing
and
very
the
well
biopsy.
for a GA. You won't remember any
Yeah,
of this, but congratulations. That's good.
Yeah, exactly. You can keep talking under general anesthetic. Just nothing's going to.
Yeah, that is an art form in itself. I got to tell you, that's an absolute art form. Genius. The star of Radio Jackie, who can even when fully unconscious do a show. Brilliant.
It's what I do best.
What?
Emily,
Emily, I want you touched on Emily. You touched on something which I think is so important, and again gets overlooked. When somebody goes into hospital for whatever it might be, you're at your most vulnerable. I mean, I always feel like dreadful. Like as soon as I walk into it, doesn't matter what the hell it's for, even for just a blood test. I'm like, oh God, I just got to get out. But the people these days have such a what was used to be called a wonderful bedside manner. They are caring, thoughtful, reassuring. They're great. Absolutely great.
Very kind, very open. And they know there is a human being coming through that door wide-eyed going, oh my God, what's going to happen to me? And well, nothing that scary at the moment. And if there is something scary, we're going to help you manage it and get through this. I can't thank the team at Kingston enough already. But I think any hospital that we could talk about in the UK would have that incredible care. And I think it's the people that first meet and greet you with that warm smile in the morning. It was a beautiful sunny morning today, blue skies, made me feel better. I mean, a gloomy morning might have felt a little bit more apprehensive. I don't know, who knows?
So
but
you don't need the sad lamp. You don't need the sad lamp. I need a sad lamp the size of an IMAX film screen.
No, I do have one. I definitely get affected by the light levels. I should move to a sunny country permanently.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. Do you know? To digress for a second. It does make a huge difference. I spent a lot. I spent a lot of time in Los Angeles, and you'd wake up every morning, the clear blue skies, and even if I wasn't doing anything particular, I just felt I could achieve anything because the weather made you feel great.
Yeah.
You just woke up, you thought, right, can I have my coffee sitting outside? I'll go down and get a sandwich later and, on Sunset Boulevard, or go down to Mulholland or whatever. It was just terrific. Doesn't matter. The simplest thing just felt so much better. Francine's answered this question, Emily, about the chip.
Yes. And
I'll read it out in case people are just listening to this and not watching the show. Yes, so when I have a mammogram, they can see where the lump was.
Okay.
And coming in from America is Azadon Brown. He's in New York State, not New York City, New York State. Absolutely. I've known a couple of men who've battled breast cancer. Yes. And I'm going to say something, and I'd love your view on this. I can't bear when people say they were a victim of cancer. I think that's terrible for your mental health. This is just me. Other people might say, no, they were a victim. The word victim is such a loaded word, isn't it?
Yes.
Loaded.
Yeah, and it makes you feel that you're already the underdog on this one.
Yeah, it makes you feel, and I don't like battling. To be honest, that's another phrase. I mean, it's always used in the, they go, Joe Bloggs battling it's like, no, you're not. You're
I
not
think the
battling.
battle. Well, and in some ways, that makes you sort of psych yourself up to go. I'm not.
Well, I'm not going to give in to this, or I'm not going to let it defeat me. While Emily's frozen, I'm just going to read this out from Wolverhampton. Scott Lyons in Wolverhampton. Emily, good luck, and hope it works out for you. Absolutely, 100%. Great booking, Russ. I'll catch up later. Need to step out now. Duty calls. Obviously, down to the local council tip. Feed the seagulls. You've frozen. You might want to reboot. What a fabulous guest. How brave. How brave. And I am so flattered that someone I hardly know has volunteered to come on to a show seen around the world and talk so openly about this. I guess that's what I'm going to take Emily off for a sec and see if she comes back while she's otherwise. Oh, it's very charming to look at her, but I'm going to see if she's going to come back and reboot. We have problems. That's how it is. I think it's fantastic and so important. I remember, sitting watching this wonderful fashion show to raise funds for breast cancer care. It was a wonderful, wonderful evening. I've done it a few times. Fantastic evening. They asked me to do the auctioning, which I did. And when the two guys walked down, I was stunned. I thought, what are they doing here? Is this some sort of gag or something? And I had no idea up to that point that men can get breast cancer. So check yourself out. I do wish, and I said it last week, I wish the cancer charities would all combine instead of dissipating the money, because I've been in the charity industry, which it is an industry. I'm out of it now, but you're paying. Let's see if Em comes back with a little bit of luck. Let's see if she comes back. Is she back? There she is. The internet. Hello. The internet dropped. I'm going to. Fat Scott Lyons up in Wolverhampton says, "Hope he works out for you. Good luck." And everybody's wishing fingers crossed.
I did see the message. Thank you very much.
Are you going to come back? I'm interested because you said to me on the phone this morning that you could get the lady who created the moonwalk to come on Wednesday. I
can indeed, and she's very excited to
that
do
would be
so.
Great.
We'd love to have a chat with us about it. And I think she's the one in the know with much more about men's breast cancer as well. We might even get Russ, if you don't mind, yourself to do a little check, show people what to do. She might talk you through what to do, just so you can.
Oh no, are you kidding? Exactly. You can't have too much hands-on.
This. Done. Exactly.
It's so.
And it's as simple as that. You can check yourself in the shower. Do you clean your teeth in the morning? Oh, I don't know, everything's good. Off we go. Fine. And most of the time, there's nothing to check, and there'll be nothing to worry about at all.
Well, hang on, Em. You clean your teeth every morning
and every night, of course. See, these pearly whites don't clean themselves. It's got to be done.
No. Oh, blimey, bloody hell! Give me. I don't need a sound. You could just come around and go like that. Is that wow? That's a hell of a smile. I haven't seen that. What are you doing? I'm gonna dig a little deep. I'm gonna dig a little deep here, Emily Dexter.
Be my guest.
And that is this. Well, you've been very open, and again, you can tell me to start off. I don't.
No. I was going to say to you, I'm totally.
No. Here's the thing. You've had this thing. Now, you're human. It's on your mind somewhere. You can put it to the back of it, but it's on your mind. What are you doing for your own mental health for the next, say, week? Because the knowing, not knowing is the swine, isn't it? Let's be honest about it. I'm being very, very honest. I'm being brutally honest. So what are you, Emily Dexter, doing? Because I think you're pretty inspirational. The fact you've come on is inspirational. So let's push it a little bit further.
Well, high praise indeed, and thank you. But I said to you, I think it's so important to spread awareness of it. And I think if I'm experiencing something, it's better to come, for want of a better phrase, from the horse's mouth. I can tell you what I just went through this morning, firsthand. and put some other people's minds at rest who maybe are where I was 2 weeks ago and only last night found a lump and thought, oh my God, my world is turning upside down. What am I going to do? Ring the GP, nice and calmly, go and get it checked. They'll see if there's anything to worry about. They'll refer you on the 2-week rule, go into hospital. They'll work out what you need to do. If you need an MRI or a mammogram, take some tests if they need it. Everything's very, very calm. Everything's very efficient. I was particularly lucky that I was in and out within 2 hours today, which is seriously going some. Yeah, super duper efficient.
And it's kind of like a Ferrari pit stop when they change all 4 tires in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. And I had
the most important thing is, there's a whole checklist of important things, but one is the process itself that you've gone through today. And here you are on the radio, a few minutes later, wasn't frightening. Is that a fair assessment?
No. Yeah, and I think I'm somebody that likes to be armed with information. That I am a natural, deep down worrier. I will worry.
Are you? That really doesn't come across. You look like you're a sort of icy cool character.
Cool.
Yeah, wow.
Don't ever sound. No, but genuinely, if I've got information and I understand something, then I don't worry about it. So I said to them, look, please do explain to me what's going on. And the consultant said to me, look, some people like to know what's going on and some don't. I said, no, I'm definitely one. Keep me talking. You keep telling me what's going on, and I will go with you, and I'll understand what's going on. I'm not squeamish on needles, thankfully.
No, nor me. I'm all right. Okay.
But I honestly didn't feel anything when I had a numb left boob. It's a bit of an interesting experience. But again, I said, look,
welcome to my world.
Laugh at these things. Always try and find some humour in the darkest of situations, actually, if I possibly can. And I'm very lucky that my friends and my family around that are able to do so. You've got to love these things. I mean, I can't shy away from it. We've all got bodies.
There's 2 things. There's 2 things here. There's 2 things here. One, you're really lucky. You got family and you got friends. You got close friends, not Facebook friends, not people you've never actually met.
Genuine,
proper friends. Proper friends you could phone up at 3 in the morning. I've got a very small handful of real friends that I could phone up at 3 in the morning and say, I got a real problem, need your help now, and they would jump in the car and be there. I know that. That's vital. And the other thing is this. I'll come on to the humour in a second. Azadon Brown in America is saying this. You should have your partner examine you on a regular basis for lumps and any irregularities. Okay. Very good point, Aza. Very good point.
Yeah, and if you're lucky enough to have
you've opened a really interesting door. I was saying at the front end of the show before you joined us that I'm doing one show this year only of my one-man show. And the humor and some of it is very dark, and some people, of course, might get offended. But I think that anything and everything seen through the lens of humor, you can deal with it. It kind of shows you, in extreme cases, the utter ludicrousness of a situation because you're looking at it through a comedic lens, or the true horror of a situation because you put it into other terms. But I'm like you, and I think the staff at the hospital would I don't mean you're doing, hey, funny thing happened to me the other night, try the chicken, but in those situations, if you can find even a tiny scintilla of humor, it helps. It helps. Now, if Neil Long was here, he'd be saying,
even a small reassuring.
I was going to say, if Neil Long was here, he'd say, oh, yes, it releases X, Y, Z, and then he'd come up with a load of fabulous terminology, and it'll make you feel better. I would just say, it relieves the tension.
It does.
It relieves the tension.
Boost and an oxytocin boost and all of those fabulous chemicals and hormones. But, there's something reassuring about another human being just looking into your eyes, genuinely looking at you and smiling and saying, you've got this, it's fine, or we've got this. If you're not sure you have got this, we've got you. Don't you worry. Everything in this whole hospital. It's
great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is great because because as an adult, you think, well, I'm on my own. I got to sort everything out. I got to work out tax. I got to work out how to live life. I got to work out how to have a relationship. Hang on, I'm not well. I'm now completely at the end of my skill set. I don't know what to do.
Mm.
So it's one of the very few times in life where you put your entire life literally in somebody else's hands, usually a complete stranger's.
Yeah.
So the reassurance that you had today is incredible. And I'm sure in America they're watching this and going, wait a minute, hang on. This woman phoned up a GP for nothing. 2 weeks later, she's having all these tests for nothing. This is the greatest country in the world. That's what the Americans would be saying. Because so far you've had about 30 grand's worth of tests, at least 30 grand in America. Easy. Shocking. Just shocking.
I lost you for a bit of that. I heard a little bit.
What I was saying.
So in America,
I was saying very briefly. In America, if they're watching this and they're listening to our conversation, they go, "Wait a minute! This woman phoned up a doctor for nothing, didn't get charged, has been to hospital, had about $30,000 worth of tests this morning, not charged a penny. Everyone was charming and lovely. What the hell's going on?" They would be astounded.
We are incredibly lucky in this country to have that.
We are.
And they all work so phenomenally hard. I have so many friends and family within the NHS, within the private sector, within the support staff for them. And I know they get really bad rep on the press at the moment.
Can we just look at that? Just look at that for a sec. What gets the bad rep is the people running around with clipboards.
Mm-hmm.
What gets the bad rap is all the middle management. You think, well, what? It's like the same as the BBC. What the hell are you doing? You're not a doctor. You're not a nurse. You're not on the front line. What are you doing? And that's why they get a bad rep. I don't think anyone's ever bad repped a nurse or a doctor or a hospital orderly. I think they're fantastic. Fantastic.
But again, they can't do their job without those people with their clipboards and organising the tests and organising the admin. I mean, the admin team. I went over to the radiology unit afterwards. I said, I'd really like, because of the sort of nerd that I am, I'd like a copy of my scans. Is that a possibility, please? And they said, well, you might have to pay for them. I said, okay, well, if you could let me know what that would be, I can think about that. Turned out they're free. Another one, amazing. Goodness knows how much that would cost in another country. But I, being super nerdy, looking at my anatomy stuff, think, right, I'd like to understand what that tissue is, where it fits within my ribcage and what it does and what the lump is and all that sort of stuff. So anyway, the admin team there were fantastic. And they are, literally brandishing a clipboard. Can I have your ID, please? Yes, can I do this? All right. And they then mean that the rest of the hospital can work efficiently and get on. Those doctors who swore their oath to, look after you, come hell or high water, can get on and do their job too. We won't get started on the press. I was press. I am sort of still press. But
you are press. Tell everybody what you actually do in real life, apart from come onto this show and be charming.
I'm a presenter. I'm a teacher.
Right.
And I am and was more so a broadcast journalist. I came out of news after the pandemic, feeling that I really wanted to do some more. I didn't want so much death and destruction in life. Mentally, I think I came on with your show a few weeks ago and said that for me, it was mentally exhausting, and it started to get me in a very downward spiral that was not healthy. Because I took my work home with me, not physically but mentally, and I wasn't sleeping and things. And I hugely admire my colleagues who can do it, and
who can switch off. You mean the colleagues? Do you mean your colleagues who can just leave it at the office, leave it at the office door, come home and be themselves? Do you mean that?
Yeah, I think I'm actually really, but some of them are much better leaving some of it behind. And I am a very visual person, and if I see images, I was working in television particularly, then they will sit with me.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm much better to have the information and try and find something proactive to do with that information that will make things better. And I can feel I've got more of a value doing that. So I have been out and about reporting. I'm much more want to go and do something a bit crazy, like I don't know. That said, I reported on the first gay weddings. That was beautiful. It was amazing and such a privilege to be there some years ago now. I reported on Prince George's birth again some years ago now. But with the
Sorry,
heavier
you
stories,
reported on the what? So I'm
on Prince
missed that.
George being born. About he's now hang on, 10 or 11 now. I've just lost track.
Mm.
But yeah, so lighter news, really interesting news, artsy stuff. My background, my degree was history of art. I love all of those side of things. But when it comes to horrendous atrocities in the world, I find it sits very heavily with me. And I definitely, as opposed to sympathising, start to try and empathise, and that can be very, very tiring. And
I have the opposite view. And my view is I never watch the news on TV, ever. I won't have it on. I won't watch it. There was an old Paul Simon, I get all the news I need from the Weather Report. It's kind of been my motto since I was a kid. I can't bear it. That does not mean I don't know what's going on, but I try to look at the real news rather than the news we're being fed. I don't mean by you, I mean the general media just feeds you garbage.
Not great.
Yeah, it's revolting. And I won't do that. Now I have started appearing on my phone how many hours screen time. I don't mean doing all of this and the shows that I do and the podcasts that I do. I mean just looking at my phone. And I'd cut it down last week over the week before, and I was thrilled this morning when I read that because I realized I do spend far too much time. I won't argue with strangers. I think that's the road to absolute madness. I won't do it. Certain things I won't look at because I'm trying to wean myself of it, Emily, because it just winds me up. And there's nothing I can do about it. There's certain things, there is just nothing I can do about it. I don't know why young Ken is appearing, but he's not coming on the show, but bless him all the same.
I think if you're not careful, your headspace, for want of a better word, but literally your mental capacity, if it is overrun by thoughts that are running in a peculiar spiral that you can't get yourself out of, and you cannot take a break from it, you don't get any clarity at all, and you don't see a path forward. And that happens to everybody. And I think it's so important to know that everybody at various points in their, not just in their life, on their weekly basis, we all have our stressed moments. Go, oh my God, I can't see the wood for the trees. But if you can start getting away from your phone, which is like another part of our bodies at the moment to most people, and remember how we were only 10 years ago. Certainly, iPhones haven't, let's say 15 years ago. And try and just look, I'm looking out at the moment over a blue sky with clouds in it, and just start looking at cloud formations and things, or just noticing sounds as you're running through your day. You actually take in a lot more of your environment, and you're stimulated by more things that are part of your everyday life. And you start, your memory start forming much better, and you sleep better and process those memories much more. And actually then your rational brain kicks in. And my rational brain, I know I have to work on it. It kicks into action very, very rapidly. I think part of it is having gone through a journalistic career for some time. You get spikes literally in your hormones, your cortisol rates. Most journalists, if you look, they've got very high cortisol, which is your stress indicator. And if you're running on that,
well, I didn't know that.
Body's constantly.
Wow,
really,
you're in
really
fight
high.
or what? I guess it's fight or flight mode. Is that what you're in?
Yeah, because the information's coming at you. You're
Wow.
going, what to do?
Why? Why are you like that?
10 people in a
But
building.
why?
I can't go to. Why am I like that? Or why?
But why are people like that? Why are journalists like that? Do they thrive on the adrenaline?
I think lots of people think I think that's a misconception. I think on an individual basis, you say, oh, I love the adrenaline rush. With that adrenaline rush comes a lot of, and that's where you find quite a lot of really fantastic journalists. So our runners, and it's very sporty because they've got to get all of that extra chemical out their body rapidly. How they chill out.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same rovers do their marathons and stuff. That's how they keep themselves safe, as far as I'm aware.
How weird.
But I do love a lovely walk, and I think if you can fit a walk in your day at some point, or a moment just to contemplate something that has nothing to do with your life. Does that make sense? You look at
it makes complete sense. It makes complete sense. And the other thing is such a simple little trick. Look up.
Look up.
Don't look
It's
down. down, look up, and you will notice so much more. If you're walking through a city, most people are looking either they're looking at their phone because they're plugged into the matrix and they're idiots, or they're just kind of walking around. But if you look up, you notice so much more, and it sounds ridiculous, but I walk down the streets, I've walked down all my life, and when you start to look up, you think, I never saw that before. Isn't that a beautiful building? Or I love that roof terrace, or I like that sign, or it's your world opens up, and it's a tiny little thing to do. It doesn't take any training to just look up a little bit. It's incredible.
And I think if you're somebody who I think lots of people find nights quite difficult, they get quite scared by the darkness. I think if you're very lucky and you can see stars, which is quite difficult in London, but if you can just look into that darkness and not be frightened of it, actually it's not black. It's not black. There are lovely, beautiful indigos and deep blues and purples in there. There's not a blackness, and the sun is rising the next morning, and that the sun will set, the next evening. And we're so lucky that regular pattern is part of our world. So I think,
well, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. You never know.
It's true, but I think in just trying to reconnect with
Emily, I can assure you, get to my age, I wake up, I go, well, that's a good start. Reconnect with nature. Yeah. I mean, I walk every day. Thank God, because I got a dog.
But yeah, look out, look, and it's a gloomy day with horrible storms and raging, winds. Why does it have to be horrible? Why can't that be exciting and intriguing, huh? That's my view.
Because I'm fed up with it to the back teeth. That's why.
Well, yeah, same here. But if you could just switch of mindset on those things, and if those things don't seem more consuming, you think, oh my God, we've got another rainy day. We've got seasons in this country. We're so lucky. You have an idea of where you are.
Yeah, but it's not winter, Em. It's not winter. Yeah, I know we've got seasons. We've got Frankie Valley. We've got the 4 seasons, but we don't kind of get them. Emily Dexter, you're coming back on Wednesday. Fabulous. Thank you for being so open. Thank you for being so honest. Thank you for sharing. Absolutely fantastic. I will see you Wednesday. Send me all the details of this amazing woman, and we'll be back to talk about the moonwalk, etc. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Wednesday at 12. Okay. Bye, Em. What a charming, charming person. Emily Dexter. Absolutely charming. Now, that was all. I was delighted with that. Ken Evans says, to see the stars in a dark sky sight is amazing. To see the stars at night it is. Yeah, it's fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. So what have we learnt today? We've learnt, don't procrastinate. If God forbid you find something that seems a little bit out of order, get it checked out, as Emily said. Get it checked out immediately. Don't put your head in the sand. I know I'm the worst. I can give advice. I'm lousy at taking advice. I'm the first person to say that. You will not be told, oh, there's a 6-month waiting list. You will be seen by your GP, and they will act el pronto. And if you need to go to the hospital, you'll be seen by people who really do know what they're doing. They do it with care. They do it with expertise. They do it with assurance. And they will calm you down. And they will metaphorically hold your hand throughout the whole process. That's why they're there. That's why they signed up to be medical people, and didn't sign up to be a social media influencer, which I always mean is another word for unemployed. God. I remember being at the BBC doing a show. There was this absolute arse of a guy. He was such an arse. And they said, and what do you do? And he said, I'm a social media influencer. And I thought, no, you're an unemployed git. Anyway, he was so rude. It's the only time in my life I've actually stopped the show. It was live on BBC, and I stopped it and I made the guy apologize. I wasn't going to let it slide. I got nothing to lose. Can't let it slide. Got to hold people up to what they are. I'll be back on Wednesday with the fabulous Emily Dexter, and we'll be talking about moonwalk and all the other things. I don't mean Michael Jackson. Till then, try and stay out of trouble. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.